All right, let's do something a little different today. We're going to time travel, but just a little bit, to April 2026. And we're looking at Charlotte, North Carolina. Why? Because the city is undergoing a transformation so massive, it's practically a new blueprint. If you think you know Charlotte, well, let's see what it looks like in just a couple of years. Okay, so this quote, this is everything. It's really the core idea of this whole explainer. It's a warning shot, basically, saying that the old maps, the old ideas about the city, they're completely obsolete. The market isn't just growing, it's playing by a totally new set of rules. And look, we're not just talking about a few new shiny buildings here. This is a total structural overhaul. That old nickname, the Quiet Southern City, yeah, that's officially dead and buried. To really get what's happening, you have to look at the specific projects that are redrawing the map. So here's our tour. We're going to start with how the city's actual footprint is expanding. Then we'll zoom into the urban core and see how it's all being stitched together. After that, we'll check out the new economic engines that are fueling all this growth, and even how the suburbs are being reinvented. And finally, the big one. What does it all mean for someone trying to make sense of this brand new market? All right, first up, let's talk about the city limits. Charlotte's physical boundaries are being completely redrawn. I mean, we are seeing these massive new developments that are literally shifting the city's center of gravity. And you gotta understand, this isn't just, random sprawl. Nope, this is the very deliberate creation of brand new anchors. These are entirely new hubs that are pulling people, money, and a ton of energy in totally new directions. And to really see this in action, you just have to look at two huge projects. Out west, you've got the River District. At 1,400 acres, it's not a neighborhood, it's literally a city within a city. Then over on the east side, you have Eastland Yards, turning 80 acres into a massive sports and park destination. It's probably the biggest thing to happen to East Charlotte in 50 years. And if you think the River District is just some futuristic blueprint, think again. By the spring of 2026, more than 85 homes have already been sold. People are moving in right now. This isn't a someday plan, it's happening, and it's pulling the whole city westward. Okay, so while the city is pushing outwards, something just as important is happening right in the center. Charlotte is also weaving its core neighborhoods together in a way that's never been done before. You see, for decades you had these invisible walls, highways, weirdly disconnected streets that chopped up the city's most valuable areas. But now, a bunch of really smart infrastructure projects are breaking down those barriers. They're all about creating flow, making things connected, and that's totally changing how you move around and experience the city. So how are they doing it? Well, it comes down to a few key connectors. You've got the new pedestrian bridge over the I-277, you've got the big new transit station at the Uptown Gateway finally taking shape, and then you just have the sheer number of new towers popping up in the South End. It's all working together to create one seamless, dense urban corridor. People used to call the I-277 freeway the highway moat. And it really was, right? It was this physical and honestly psychological barrier that split the corporate vibe of Uptown from the super vibrant South End. Well, with the new rail trail pedestrian bridge, that moat is gone, eliminated. What used to be two separate places is now becoming one big walkable neighborhood. Okay, but all this construction, all this change, what's paying for it? What's the engine driving this whole thing and making it sustainable? Let's talk about the new economic powerhouses. It really breaks down into four huge drivers. You've got a world-class medical innovation hub. You've got the ripple effects from a light rail line that isn't even built yet. You've got massive public investment into once overlooked areas and a huge airport expansion that's cementing Charlotte's place on the global map. And this is not just talk. We're not talking pocket change here. The city's putting its money where its mouth is, to the tune of $259 million in public funds for its corridors of opportunity. That cash is flowing into places like Beatty's Ford and West Boulevard. And here's the kicker. Private equity is now chasing that public money, and it's sparking incredible change. And then you've got the Pearl. This 26-acre innovation district is so much more than a new medical school. It's a magnet. It is actively pulling in an entirely new demographic of high-income doctors, researchers, and tech professionals. And guess what? They're flooding the local housing market, totally reshaping demand all around the Midtown area. What's really fascinating to me is that this isn't just a downtown story. The very idea of what a suburb is, it's being completely rewritten. Those sleepy old corporate parks are evolving into these bustling 24/7 communities. I mean, just look at Ballantyne as a perfect example.
It used to be the definition of a 9 to 5, get in your car and leave corporate park. Now, it's being totally reimagined as this walkable, self-contained village with parks, music venues, and shops. It's a real live-work-play destination.
And the demand for this new kind of suburb is just off the charts. It's so intense that people in the market have actually coined a new term, the Wegmans radius. There's a high-end grocery store, Wegmans, that's not even opening until the fall of 2026, and already buyers are scrambling to get inside this invisible circle around it. It's having a real, measurable impact on the housing supply right now. Okay, so let's recap. We've toured the new city limits, the connected urban core, the economic engines, and the reimagined suburbs. So what's the bottom line here? How do you actually read this new blueprint for Charlotte in 2026? It all boils down to this. The old rules of real estate? They're gone. Value isn't just about square footage anymore. It is now directly tied to these massive, new infrastructure milestones. Like the source material says, if you don't know how far a property is from a game changer like the Pearl, you're basically flying blind. You're gambling. So if you're trying to navigate this new landscape, here are the new rules of the game. It's pretty simple, but it's powerful. First, you've got to track the infrastructure, not just the recent sales. Second, you have to understand the ripple effect that these huge anchor projects are going to have on everything around them. And third, the real goal is to spot these opportunities before everyone else does.
You know, when you step back, Charlotte's story is incredible. It's a powerful case study in rapid, fundamental urban change, and it leaves you with this really fascinating question. This blueprint for transformation, expanding outward, connecting the core, diversifying the economy, and reinventing the suburbs, it could be a model for other places. So it just makes you wonder, which quiet city is next?